All right, I think we're on. Yay. Hi, everybody. Anybody? Welcome.
Hi, everybody. Whoever's there. Nice to see you.
You're on, but you're just a little head thing.
Just a little floating head.
We'll try to get that
Hi.
down a little bit there. Well, it's still, I don't know. Oh, well. Oh, well. It'll have to do.
Yeah. I'll have to do.
I'm going to try it over here. Okay, we'll just make everybody dizzy.
Look out.
Ah!
Oh, gosh. No.
Oh, you're not close up. I'll come over there. Okay, let's talk about the Hierophant.
Okay. You go.
Me go. All
Yeah.
right. That's mysterious.
All right, Mr. Mysterious.
That's the Hierophant, not me. Well,
Yeah.
I'm mysterious too.
The High Priest.
The Pope.
The Pope.
Pope.
The Pope.
Pope card.
Yep.
Okay. So we did the Emperor previous.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're on the Hierophant as a path on the Tree of Life. So we get a Tree of Life.
Mm-hmm. He's getting the Tree of Life.
Although Dallas had illustrated this in the image in the on the webpage on the Facebook group, but I'll show you here. So there we are. The red-orange path from Chokmah to Hesed. There we go. Boom. So the Emperor was here. Chokmah to Tifreth, 2 to 6. And here we have Chokmah to Hesed, 2 to 4. And again, it's one of the 5 cards crossing, or 5 paths / major chops crossing the abyss from the eternal supernals to manifestation. And as the reading today will allude to, you can refer to that as from the help me.
Macro.
Prosopis?
Yes.
To the microprosopis.
Sure.
I hope I said that right, because I'll read it now. Let's go look at it now to make sure. But from the big to the small, from the all, everything, from the universe, unmanifest universe to to our lives.
To our lives. And that's represented by the Hierophant, which is the Pope, and the simple vowel meaning
nail or hook.
Or hook. The letter meaning is hearing or listening.
Simple letter for hearing, or listening.
Which is you're supposed to listen to the Pope, or he's that commanding, that voice of God. Mm-hmm. So he speaks into our lives what we're supposed to hear.
Speaks into our lives. So, and certainly this is covered a lot in the material, and especially looking at the Kabbalistic Tarot by Robert Wang, which you have an actual nice cover on that one.
This one's mine.
And so in the older decks it's called the Pope, because of course if there was supposed to be an image depicting the obviously Hierophant is the top of the hierarchy.
Yes, the Pope is the top of the hierarchy.
So the Pope is the top of the hierarchy.
Right.
Even in
or the High Priest.
Or the High Priest. Even in Middle Ages, though, when you had most of the world promoting the divine right of kings, that the kings were chosen by God as well.
Yes.
At least if they were European.
Well, even before that.
Christian.
Yeah.
Well, even before Christianity got involved, it was like rulers, like especially like in the Roman tradition and other nations, that if you were the boss, you could be a god. The
Yes.
pharaohs could be the word godlike.
Yes.
Caesar became a god.
Mm-hmm.
So you have that idea of the top of the hierophant, the voice of that must be obeyed.
But even those who were rulers were also advised. They had their advisors who were the ones that actually spoke to God and then told the rulers what the big guy had to say. Right?
Sometimes.
I think.
Sometimes.
Yeah. And that's why the high priest. That's why the high priests always had such high positions of honor as well. So high priest turns into hierophant, turns into pope when the churches took over, right?
Yeah.
So that's why we need to listen. That's why we
now. However, it's associated. What's important here, I think, too, is it's associated with Taurus. And the bull symbol, and of course in the tarot, there's in most decks, or the Rider-Waite Smith deck, you have the 4 cherubs in the Wheel of Fortune, and you have the 4 cherubs in usually most world cards, the world or the universe card, sometimes called. But you'll see these 4 characters, and then in Crowley's Thoth deck here, he also has the 4 cherubs, not cherubs, well, I'll call them cherubs for now, in the Hierophant card too. And of course, we know that these relate to the fixed signs of the zodiac, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius. And of course we know how that is not, they're called cherubs, but cherubs is what? Like a little kind of pudgy little cutesy angel. Yeah. But no, they are the archangels of the quarters that we are calling in as well. For the greater Supreme Pentagram Ritual. It's all about the 4 quarters, and that is the 4 that are associated with the 4 fixed signs: air, fire, water, earth. And then we do earth, that's finished with Adonai with a bull. The Taurus symbol and the bull.
Circle with the horns, with the crescent on top.
This is associated with one of those 4, I'll call them then archangels. Let's see if I can, off the top of my head, the other as paths or major tarot trumps. Those 4 quarters are associated with the Hierophant is Taurus. The star is Aquarius. Strength is Leo. And I believe death is Scorpio. So you have these 4 cards associated with those 4 fixed signs of the zodiac, which are therefore representative of these archangels. So, however, what is that mystery, or why are they on those cards or associated with the world and the Wheel of Fortune, and apparently sometimes for Crowley anyway with the Hierophant. Because when they appear in the tarot, I think they're to do with things with manifestation.
Right.
With their holding together fixed signs. Not only that, but when the world card is about things coming into materiality, into manifestation.
Right.
From imagination into physical.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that when you have these 4 cherubim or archangels, associated with fixed signs, you're talking about things manifesting.
Mm-hmm. Which is what this path is about too. Being Taurus and coming from Hokmah, which is the zodiac, which isn't a planet at all. It's everything.
All the whole path of the zodiac.
Everything.
Yeah.
And then straight down into Jupiter, right? Into Chesed, which is Jupiter, which is a big bunch of something.
Well, we'll be getting there to the Wheel of Fortune eventually with this pathworking. But I can tell you, sneak peek preview, that of course when you talk about the world card, you're talking about manifesting things in the world, things you see, touch, smell, things. But are the manifestations of the Wheel of Fortune to do with things so much? Because it's still way up there on the tree of life. But it is saying that it's what we're doing here is Hesed, or Jupiter, is where the Hierophant is going from Chokmah to Hesed, is where it crosses the abyss. So it's going from the unseen realm, so to speak, to the macroprosopis to the microprosopis, the big world to the little world, the ethereal world, the spiritual world, realms to the manifesting world. Although I think still at Jupiter, you're still talking about manifesting.
Right, not
manifested. And not manifested.
Yeah.
But it still has that connotation of manifesting.
Yeah.
Those are my glasses, Casey. Sit on them. So, but the Wheel of Fortune has a lot to do with those big cycles, the cycles of the zodiac, the cycles of the planets, So, it's manifestation, but it's almost like on a mathematical level or theoretical level or the laws of physical reality level, where in the Wheel of Fortune, and I think to some extent here too, in the Hierophant, you're talking about the rules,
right?
The laws, the law of attraction, the law of karma, the laws, the word, the word, and the book, because he's got a scroll.
Maybe this would be a time to grab some of those cards.
All right. Yeah.
All right. Okay. But yes, speaking of the scrolls, that's something that's predominant on a number of cards, right?
Keep my little charcoal going because it's barely there. The scent for tonight is storax, but also sweet peas. So we got some sweet peas from the garden on the altar, and whew, they smell strong.
They do.
So where are we here? There's the traditional RWS. Hierophant. Well, oftentimes you see these two supplicants, disciples, priests.
And he's usually has his hand raised in blessing, or has the scrolls.
Hand raised in blessing. And then there's this keys. There's keys. And that's a recurring theme in many decks. And there's something about the symbolism of the key.
That's the Crystal Tarot.
Crystal Tarot, very traditional with the two dudes in front.
And it's quite beautiful.
Beautiful, yeah. Golden Dawn.
That's the initiatory deck. The Golden Dawn again. Quite traditional.
In a sense.
In a sense, does he have the rams there?
He's got a big bull
he's
head.
Sitting on
the bull throne of the bull.
He's got the throne of the bull. Yeah, maybe pull out a little bit. Yeah.
And Crowley's a very complex card here. And of course, there's the 4 archangels, the 4 fixed signs around that we were discussing. The idea is he's the Hierophant in the center, and the star is the child, and the feminine or the mother, the high priestess, is there with him as well. Mm-hmm. She's holding a lunar crescent, lots of bulls, the elephant, which I'm not even know if they had the association back in turn of the previous century with Ganesh, like we know now with the elephant.
Right.
We got a Zaber. What is it called, Anna? Enchanted Tarot.
The Enchanted Tarot, yeah.
Beautiful. Again, we have two people below. This here, it's a man and a woman. Mm-hmm. The blessing and the book. He's got his scroll or a book. The Hierophant, Magus of the Eternal Gods. The Illuminate, whatever that one is.
The Magus of the Eternal. Let's put a grand title, these.
It is, these grand. Got the elephant symbol here again. Mm-hmm. An Egyptian.
Is that
beautiful.
The Egyptian? The Egyptian, the description for that card I pulled out because it was quite interesting. It says, the Hierophant, they say, inspiration, the Lord of the sacred mysteries exhorts to inner concentration so as to hear the voice of the heavens in the stillness of the passions and instincts.
Again, please.
The Lord of the sacred mysteries exhorts to inner concentration so as to hear the voice of the heavens in the stillness of the passions and instincts.
Thank you. I guess we'll skip the Voodoo Warlock for now. Oh, I've gone down that far now.
Yeah, you've gone down that path.
My Spirit Halloween deck.
Yeah.
For our character for the Hierophant is the Voodoo Warlock. It's fun. Mm-hmm. Dancing is doing some. Oh, he's about to stab a voodoo doll with something pointy at the fire during a ceremony.
Yikes!
So means business. Mm-hmm. And the scent is Storax, so I'm just going to try to get something going on the last bit of coal I found. We'll discuss it a bit more because, it's important. I think I've certainly, it's probably in here too, but that it's associated with hearing and the sense of hearing. They say that when one is passing away, that hearing is the last thing you got. Hearing.
Really?
That feel free to talk to somebody as they're departing. They might still hear you. But also the idea of its inner hearing, or clairaudience, or the inner voice.
Right.
And in that context, I don't think it needs to be confined to hearing. It's more like inner. I think it's about inner sensing.
Right.
And you wonder, it in a modern context. The whole idea of hierarchies question.
It is right now, that's for sure. Yeah.
And well, it has been for decades. I mean, the SCC is founded on a lack of hierarchy.
True.
And the top secret initiation is a bit of a farce to talk about how silly the whole idea of initiation is.
But we're not going to tell you what
Not going to tell you what the secret is. You'll have to come and get initiated if you want. However, the whole idea is that, and that, which again, I think the Hierophant is again also about initiation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, here you have the actual image of the high priest with the knowledge and holding the keys
in the
scroll
yep.
for the people
Key to
knowledge before those that are below him to learn.
Right.
So, however, what we're moving into the new Aeon, to carry on with Crowley, and the Aeon of Horus, which is about a lack of hierarchies, about about individuality,
mm-hmm.
and that, and then if you talk about too in even a more wider esoteric perspective, we're talking about how each individual has their own access to their own inner knowledge, their own inner awareness, mm-hmm. their own spirit, their own, and their connect. And we also have this modern idea of the collective coming into their higher awareness or Christ consciousness, and that the Christ consciousness is about heart, the perspective of the heart, mm-hmm. rather than the head. Mm-hmm. And so here we're dealing with a symbol which is sort of based a lot upon the old paradigm of here's the guy that knows and you don't know, and you have to be initiated, and somebody else holds the key, and you have to, who's not going to give you the key unless you pass muster, and unless you're good enough, and obviously that's a lot of bullshit.
Yeah.
Which, however, the card is also about,
mm-hmm.
because it goes into it's this idea of the demiurge.
Right.
And it's kind of a Gnostic idea that even in the Tree of Life, Kabbalah, with a K, that comes from Hebrew mysticism and is now, secularized with Kabbalah with a Q. So, but you have this idea of source to male energy to female energy, to the Lord and the Lady in Wicca, Lord and Lady, Source, Lord and Lady. That these are the supernals, these are the spirits, these are the beyond human kind of energies.
Right.
And then they cross the abyss. So in the Gnostic, I always thought this sort of interesting, that the Hierophant goes to Hesed. Mm-hmm. And of course, Hesed in the Hebrew, the God name is Jehovah. Yod He Vav He is Jehovah, which is the Hebrew great deity. But even in Hebrew mysticism, you got all this stuff going on above and beyond Jehovah, mm-hmm. beyond the number one. So what's that mean? Yeah. He's not number one, even in Hebrew?
Who's pulling the strings?
Who's pulling the strings? Exactly. Well put. Thank you. Who's pulling the strings? So this idea from the Gnostics is that Jehovah, as he's just kind of popped out from the abyss, doesn't know he's not number one.
Right.
Jehovah thinks he's God, but he's the demigod. the
Right.
demiurge,
Okay.
the half, the little God.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That, so we have this larger idea, even kind of, that has its roots in Hebrew mysticism, that Jehovah is the God of the Jews. It doesn't mean he's the God of the whole freaking universe.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah.
And that
there's a divine
there's
intelligence.
there's a divine
above.
intelligence beyond.
Beyond.
that.
Yeah. Aha.
So,
Yikes.
yikes.
Whew, Storax.
Oh, it's tiny, tiny pinch.
Yep. What do you think, Casey? He doesn't know.
So, kind of the idea here of, it's kind of tricky, isn't it?
What?
This whole concept of Hierophant, it's the idea of this things, it's the beginnings of the path of manifestation.
Yeah.
In that, it is the earth aspect of energies coming from the abyss into the manifesting universe.
Right. From all of the energies, from all of those energies.
All of those energies.
Because Hokmah, you got to think about what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
everything.
not a planet, it's
The zodiac.
everything. It's the zodiac.
in
It's
potential.
all those ideas, because
Yeah.
it's like where before ideas even take form, they're just ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Because everything has to go over to Binah in order to get more into form.
More tangible.
Form. So these are just like swirling ideas, like the zodiac and
Mm-hmm.
cycles and things. So that's what's coming down
Mm-hmm.
and going through down the path of the Hierophant into the idea of manifestation.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes, I like it. Let me just read some of this, and I'll read it again when we start the temple, but because this is what we want to meditate on.
Yeah.
The path of vow, spelt in English V-A-U.
Mm-hmm.
The Hierophant, the fifth key, tarot number 5, major arcana number 5. Path color red-orange. Related sound C sharp.
I don't have my phone.
Oh, I'm not going to be able to fake it. I trust that. Sounds good. C sharp. C plus a little. Sign is Taurus, fixed earth. And again, that's very important. We talked about it as being one of the 4 archangels.
Mm-hmm.
And one for earth.
Which is Uriel.
Uriel as an angel. Meaning nail or hook. So this idea of fastening, of connecting.
Show the little...
I will, yeah. Simple letter for hearing.
Mm-hmm.
And esoteric title, the Magus of the Eternal. So let's see if I can get some of those images just out of the book there. There we go, that's pretty good. So the idea of, there's evolve there, and that's a nail there, and that's Taurus there. Let me just read this. 32 Paths of Wisdom from the Sefer Yetzirah. It says, the 16th path is the triumphal or eternal intelligence, so called because it is the pleasure of the glory, beyond which is no other glory like to it. And it is called also the paradise prepared for the righteous.
Ooh.
So, once more, the 16th path is the triumphal or eternal intelligence, so called because it is because it is the pleasure of the glory, beyond which is no other glory like to it. And it is called also the paradise prepared for the righteous. A stabilizing extreme.
Masculine extreme.
Masculine extreme.
It's a very masculine path.
The rock-solid base of experience between the supreme spiritual self and the ego of Tiferet. Memory is an aspect. So this idea of the nail is involved as somehow associated with memory to kind of create a... So what that does is it's very important here is the inner hearing, the inner voice, the inner sensing, is that it's talking about, and what's often always depicted here in this idea of the leader of the hierarchy bestowing knowledge or wisdom upon the disciples or students. We see that in the Rider-Waite they have this a Y on their back, which is the yoke, which is the yoke of sort of self-discipline, the yoke of purpose, the yoke of dedication, that these individuals in front of the Hierophant are like disciples. They're dedicated to their learning.
They've taken on the yoke.
They've taken on the yoke of whatever needs to happen for them to attain this wisdom. At the same time, so in general here, it's not about a hierarchy. It's about an internal, everyone's own personal connection to their own inner voice, or higher self, or spiritual self. So that is where the hook is. That's where the nail is, connecting kind of the not just the ego self, but the emotional self, the physical self, all these aspects of self to a spiritual being that they, how does that go now? Well, that, the saying that we're spiritual beings in a physical experience.
Yes.
So this is the path, or the nail, or the quality in this here is about that connection. I've often, we get sort of esoteric in these studies, and you kind of very much it's about self-identity. It's about we know that our bodies have replaced themselves every 7 years. They say that every cell in your body, every little bone cell or whatever, has been replaced itself every 7 years. You're a new person. But I don't feel like that much different from the person I was 7 years ago. Except for a few more aches or pains or whatever.
Yeah.
So at this stage. So, but this is the idea that it's, and with we hear, I've certainly been doing some research and around channeling and stuff, and there's, all this kind of so-called information about slipping into other realities, and this idea that when you make a big change in your life, you're actually kind of putting yourself into a different life. And what we're really kind of looking at is this fluidity in, so what is really holds us together, what creates the person is their memories. Without your memories, it's like every moment is a new thing, and you can be a new person, and you're not, the only thing what holds us together, what is our identity, is our memories.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of mysterious. It's as though the Hierophant, it's like our higher self is kind of, it's sort of, to me, one of the messages of this path, or this card, is that it works both ways. That, say, sure, those disciples are have yoked themselves to their path of learning, that they're dedicated themselves. But really, it works both ways. It's, the spiritual awareness, would not be gaining an experience or expanding its perspective without us little kind of temporal, mortal bags of water and flesh doing our part.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And here you have the symbol of Taurus, which is so much about earth, fixed earth, and nature. And, so where would, without, so you need that manifestation. The spiritual energies need polarity as much as humans need the polarity of spirit. Spirit needs the polarity of physical consciousness.
Right.
That it works both ways, that it's a balance.
That's just something just drew my eye here was what you're talking about is the nail that binds together and unifies, suggesting that the primary function of the Hierophant is to link the microprosopus with the macroprosopus, so the great universe with manifestation. It is the triumphal or eternal intelligence by which all that we are is forever tied to the divine spirit. So that's just what you were saying, David. The binding consciousness is described in a variety of symbolic ways, such as it links the sun and the moon, or it ties together the above and the below. So that's something that we use as above, so below. So it's that link, and that's what that nail is, or hook is that it hooks things together or nails them together. Yeah. So, and it's also related to teaching, which you were also talking about, which introduces these links together the higher ideas to the more mundane or lower. So yeah. And expressing it in another way, it can be said that the intelligent energy which binds the pure inner spirit to the outer aspects of manifestation is also the source for our understanding of that inner spirit. So there you go. That's your inner spirit. Links them all together.
Yes. We look out on it at a physical world, but that can be, it's like in modern pop psychology about how people mirror what we have going on inside of us to us.
Right. Yeah.
And so, when something comes into your experience, there's this whole idea that we have drawn that into our experience, whether it's a difficult learning experience or it's a pleasurable experience, or both, or hard or harsh, or easy or fun. Nonetheless, we are creating our own lives. We create our own worlds with our point of view and our thoughts and our feelings and our attitudes. And that's the idea of karma, for sure, is that, we create our own world to some extent. And so
by our thoughts
and our actions. And
it reminds me of that other witchy saying that I glommed onto. I always loved this. What you don't find within, you'll never find without. So it's that same idea of linking together the divine with, as above, so below. What you don't find inside, you're not going to find outside. So look within,
Otherwise you won't be able to recognize what you're experiencing or seeing.
That's
if you don't have that link, that understanding within. But it's also that the divine is, like in this card, well, in, 1310, the Pope was divine.
Yes.
And there he is, right there.
Well,
it's physical. Well,
still
down in Italy.
is to some people.
It still is to some people. Yeah. So, so, and for us, if nature is more, going to the beach is connecting to the divine.
Yeah.
The cycles and the waves and this great big holy moly.
Yeah.
So it's like it's within and without. It's the micro and the macro, that there's a unity. And that this is what's in his book, what's in his scroll. Well, it's probably,
teachings.
It's physics.
Yeah.
It's about how the modern physics that by observing something you change it. That we know after a couple psychedelic experiences that my whole life is in here. I see you, I see the kitty, I do this and I do that, and I see the beach and I see the stars, but I'm not seeing it out there. It's energy going through my eyeballs, making a picture in my brain.
Yes.
It's all, everything I experience is in my brain and in myself.
And we could get all philosophical and wonder too if we're also even seeing the same thing because of our experience. Right?
So certainly we're obviously, there's a shared experience.
And shared understanding. Trees are green,
shared
oceans
expectations.
Are blue. Yeah. Like if you went down and saw a pink ocean, you would be surprised. Or a orange tree, that would.
It doesn't mean, but you have to remember, that doesn't mean you're wrong.
No.
You might be seeing just a slightly different wavelength.
Yes.
Of energy, because it's all just freaking energy.
Yeah.
In your brain.
Yeah. And that's the path we're following tonight. On that note, anybody want to meditate?
All right.
I can see where this is going already. Oh my gosh.
So you got your papers?
I've got my papers.
The papers.
The papers, yes, I've got the papers.
I can still smell that, we don't have smell-o-vision, but, take a whiff. It smells sweet, trust me.
Sweet peas. Sweet peas. Here's my...
All right. I dedicate this temple to the goddess and the god. For the pathworking on Val. Okay. So I'll just begin.
Please do.
Let's begin.
Let's begin.
Am I on? I'm not even on the camera.
I'm not even on the camera.
Oh my God.
Turn the camera.
Yeah, turn the camera
One
so
moment,
people can see me make lines in the air and stuff.
Yes, yes. Can you see the altar? Yes. Beautiful. Okay. Close the door a little bit.
Mary's fortunately relaxed. So
okay.
Quiet, I hope.
And Casey's happy here, so.
Ate Malkuth Vegabora Vegadula Leovam. Amen. Hecus Hecus Est Bebeloi. Yeheshua. 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 Yeheshua, 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 Yeheshua. This way. Yeheshua, 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 Yeheshua. Close that up with Yeheshua, Yehovah Shah, Yod, Hey, Shin, Vav, Hey. Ayin Arai, Yod, Nun, Resh, Yod, sign of Osiris, slain. El, the sign of the morning of Isis. V, the sign of Typhoon, Apophis. X, the sign of Osiris, risen. L, V, X spells Lux, light, light to the cross. Virgo, Isis, mighty mother. Scorpio, Apophis, destroyer. Sol, Osiris, slain yet risen. Isis, Apophis, Osiris. Io, Ixarpe, Hokoima, Nanta, Biteoem, divine light descend. Ye Olivahilam Him, Yolivahilavadat, Chedonai Haaretz, the divine light descend. Ate Malkuth Vegabora Vegadula Veola Am. Amen. Our sphere circle around us, and we call upon the archangels, guardians of the quarters, and the elementals, beings for here in the east. Exarpe, Oro Iba Eozopi, Yehovah, Yehovah. Hail Raphael, energies of air in the east. Veiteoem Aeheye, Oipteia Pedoke, Elohim. Hail Michael, archangel of fire in the south.
Okay. Water in the west. Hokoma Agala Empear Salgeol Al. Hail Gabriel, archangel of the west and water. Nanta Agala Imordial Hectega Adonai. Hail Uriel, archangel of the north and earth.
Before us, Raphael. Behind us, Gabriel. To the right hand, Michael. And to the left hand, Uriel. About us flames the pentagrams, and in the column shines the six-rayed star. Ate, Malkuth, Vegabora, Vegadula, Lila'am. As above, so below. This evening, we're traveling the path of vow, the Hierophant. Color red-orange. Sound C sharp. Taurus, nail or hook, meaning hearing. The title, the Magus of the Eternal. The 16th path is the triumphal or eternal intelligence, so called because it is the pleasure of the glory, beyond which there is no other glory like to it. And it is called also the paradise prepared for the righteous. Yo, let's go there. So I will talk us through a middle pillar exercise and meditate into vow. So you want to begin by relaxing and breathing deeply. And try to establish the 4 square breath, which is breathing in fully and slowly to your own count of 4, pausing for the same count of 4, breathing out in a relaxed, even fashion, count of 4, and pausing for a count of 4. So let's take a few breaths and try to get that going while we relax. Visualize the energies around yourself, protection. Visualize the guardian angels, archangels as energizing, blessing. And imagine an orb of white light atop the head, pure source light, the crown chakra. White light atop the head. God name is Aheye. Bring the light energy down to form a lavender orb of light in the throat area. Yehovah Elohim.
Yehovah Elohim.
Yehovah Elohim.
Yehovah Elohim.
Bring the light energy down to form a golden yellow orb of light behind the solar plexus and the torso. It's the light of love. Yehovah Elohim. Yehovah Elohim. Bring the light energy down to form a purple orb of light in the groin area. Shaddai El Chai. Shaddai El Chai. Shaddai El Chai. Imagine the light descending to form a russet orb of light at the feet. His God name is Adonai Haaretz. Bring the attention to the top of the head, ball of light. On the exhale, imagine light energy coming down through the left side of the body to the feet. On the inhale, bring light energy up along the right side of the body to the top of the head. Exhale energy down the left. Inhale light energy up the right. On the exhale, imagine the light energy coming down over and through the front of the body to the feet. On the inhale, bring the light energy up along the back of the body to the top of the head. Exhale light energy down over the front of the body. Inhale the light energy up along the back of the body. On the inhale, collect light energy at the feet. And on the exhale, release the light energy up through the middle pillar, through the body, through the top of the head. Let light energy fountain down around and through the body again to be collected at the inhale. Imagine, if you will, if you prefer, the meadow and the hill and the great tree on the hillside with its roots around the rock. There's a chamber for you here, a safe place to connect to the knowledge of the tree. Bob, a nail who holds it together, the Hierophant, the bull. Uriel, Gabriel, Raphael, Raphael. Thank the guardians of the quarters and the intelligences and energies drawn and called to the ceremony. Go if you must, stay if you will. Blessed be service. May the temple be closed. And we'll turn this off and we'll begin again soon with discussion.